members of the community are coming up, and the fact that you're open to listening and changing is huge, like and adapting. So I think that's a really important aspect of it. But I think like as people get more accustomed to it, like we kind of discussed like it is a rucking event.
Yeah.
It is a rucking event.
Welcome to the Fuel Hunt Show.
What's going on, Eagles? Welcome to the Fuel Hunt Show. I'm joined today by my cousin and co-founder, Drew. And we're also joined by Tim, the owner of Goodwerks. Today, Tim is here because we're going to do a Few Fest recap. We recently had the Few Fest 003, so that's our third Few Fest here in Philly. We're going to get into 003 was a little different than the previous Few Fest, and we're going to get into why, because I'm basically sadistic, and Tim talked me off the ledge for the third one, and it was a good idea. But we'll get into a little recap of 003, how it differentiated from 002 and the first Few Fest, and then we'll tease a little bit as to what's going on in December for the Few Fest 004. So to back up a little bit, the Few Fest is our quarterly event where we get the community, the few, together in person to do something hard. At least that's how it started. So 1 and 2, the Few Fest 001 and 002, were very long rucks now that I've come to understand. It was a ruck from HQ here in the Frankfurt section of Philly down to the Liberty Bell, which is the old city section of Philly. So it was about a 17-mile ruck. In addition to that, the ruck was bookended by 500 reps in the gym before the Few Fest started, or before the ruck started, and then another 500 reps at the end after the ruck started. So you're looking at 17 miles, 1,000 reps. It was a day. It was a day. Yeah. So some of the most hardcore of the few came out for 1 and 2, and with Tim moving into HQ and bringing his company with him and his Trust Hard Work flag, I said, "Hey man, we're getting a strong, small group for the Few Fest. You've got some experience with rucking events."
Yep.
I said, "What do you think? Like, how can we make the group a little larger?" And that's when you kind of backed me off of the 17 miles. You're like, well, first things first, we could just shorten the ruck a little bit so it's not as sadistic. And I'm like, that works.
I mean, 17 miles is a piece, man. Like, and that's, and that's not just for, it's not difficult for just new people. 17 miles is a big piece for a lot of people, even experienced ruckers doing that. Like, it's not a just like a weekend, like, hey, I'm gonna decide to go do this. Like, yeah, some people are to that fitness level and duration and ability where they can say, you know what, like, yeah, I can just grind through it and that's fine. But it's really difficult to build the appeal for a ruck like that too, and especially when it's like, what else, like, what about this is going to be unique? What about this ruck, about doing this mileage with you is going to be different than me going to a park or going into the city and doing it by myself? Like, what's the difference? Like, why come and do this with you guys when I have a ruck club, when I have friends who do this, And so it's, I think coming down from that distance made it way more approachable for a larger group of people. But at the same time, it's also, there's still the bar where people know that, like, there's going to be suffering involved, just not as long. It's not like the long suffering. It's not like the super big grind, but it's still there.
It was definitely, it was being short-sighted on my part, because when I put it together, I was like, let's just engineer something super hard and just show up and do it. And I think it was more for my version of hard, maybe, and I wasn't thinking as I should have been about everybody else. So I appreciate you bringing me back down to earth with that. Did you try to talk me out of the 17 mile? I don't think you did. You were kind of just like, you're crazy, just go do it.
I mean, I knew when we did the first one, it was like 26.2. I feel like maybe 17 was like fine, because like all we knew was the bar of 26.2. So I was like, 17, that's like a 10 miles less almost. Like
A marathon ruck is like nothing to shake a stick at, man. Like, that's a big piece.
That's what I was going to do first. I was like, it's going to be a marathon ruck for the Few Fest 001. But then I ran the walking directions from here to Liberty Bell. And I was like, first of all, this is going to take a good portion of the day.
Yeah.
And it's, 16 miles. So let's just, kind of cap it at that. What Drew's referring to, for everybody watching and listening that may not be familiar, there was something that was the prequel that preceded the Few Fest 001, and that was Suckfest. So, which we've discussed, right? I told you about Suckfest.
I think briefly.
Yeah. So Bedros engineered that.
Oh yeah.
That marvel, and it was supposed to be a marathon distance, but I think it ended up being over that. It ended up being almost 30 miles. And 4,000 reps, over 4,000 reps. So you do like 2/10 of a mile and then like 30 reps, and you would just literally repeat that until you reach
that's
the,
an all
the
day.
goals.
Like that's a minimum
man,
all
it
day thing.
What, so 3 a.m. or 4 a.m.?
I started late because I had some Uber issues. I started at 4:30. I think you started earlier than that.
I think we started at 3 or 4, and we went all day. We didn't get done until 7. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was brutal.
A lot of people will do just a strict 26.2 mile ruck, and that alone can take 7-8 hours.
Yeah.
Add in, what was it? How many reps?
Over 4,000. I think it was 4,300
Add
or
that
something.
in, that's a big piece. And like if you look at rucking events and their durations, if you look at, I'm going to say the standard.
Yeah.
Or the regular event, which would be a 12-hour event, so
Yep.
12 hours.
Yeah.
that's the standard in rucking events.
That's like kind of
So when people show up, they're ready for a 12-hour.
Some there's it's tiers. It's all tiered, but like if you look at a 12-hour event, you're looking at 12 to 15 miles.
Yeah.
Right. So averaging like a mile an hour.
Yep.
But they're also, you have team movements, you have coupons, you have PT, you have a welcome party, you have all these other elements that go into it. So for like when you were saying like, yeah, man, 17 miles and 1,000 reps, it's like, okay, 1,000 reps is whatever. Like you can do cherry pickers, or overhead hand claps, or you could do whatever you want with that. But it's the time.
Yeah.
And it's the time under load and time under tension, and you're getting more accustomed to rucking, and you realize that it's not just throwing a pack on and walking, and especially when you have other people, when you're in a city. So now it's not just like, hey, we're on a trail or a loop where we can just continuously go.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like we have to wait for traffic, we have to wait for other people, we have to, there's so many other variables to it.
Yeah.
So that's one element of that, and then two, it's like, that's a piece, man. Like, so when you're looking at that, you're really taking a scope that could be this big of like the few even, right? And then you're going to this.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that there's like that's inherently like bad
but
or whatever.
The
but the goal is camaraderie and community.
It's
so
a little long on the suffering.
Yeah.
The first 2 hours. And you know what? Like we all finished. Nobody quit. 001, 002. We had 6 or 7 people each time. Absolute savages, But we were exhausted, bro.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
We were tired, and that affected the camaraderie.
Of course.
Plus, there weren't any team movements. It was like we're all here at HQ. We're having a blast, bringing everybody together. We had fun. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But everybody was training separately. You know what I mean? Like
even
just
the initial Suckfest, we kind of broke off, and we
did.
Like it was like we had like 12 people or whatnot.
So sitting down with Tim and brainstorming and saying like, hey, are you willing to bring your experience from these rucking events to this, and let's engineer something that has the ability to have more connection, more community, was instrumental in 003. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
I know I gave
pleasure.
you your flowers a couple of times, but I want to give them to you again.
They need refreshing every now and
exactly,
then.
yeah.
So
He's like every day.
When Joey decides to show up at HQ, I'll take him. When he decides to show up.
I mean, every day, am I not?
No, bro.
It's been recently. It's been there's been some work from home events, but typically I'm here.
It's all right.
Typically I'm here. I meant to ask you about that on the last show that we did together because you're like, oh yeah, whenever you're here, I'm like, I'm here all the time, aren't I? But no, you're right.
More than Drew though.
Summertime.
So
Summertime's tough because of
Yeah,
you know,
kids
my
and
schedule.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they get out of school early, so it's a lot of work
yeah.
from home. But anyway, so let's talk about 003. So this Few Fest was a little different. Ruck distance shortened. So from 16 to 17 miles down to 6 to 7 miles.
Yep.
I don't know what our count was that day, but I'm thinking it was around 6.
I think it's closer to 7.
We're closer to 7?
So I think it was closer to 7, especially once you add in like all the other movements that we did and stuff.
Got you.
Back, I think it was much closer to 7 than 6. Yep.
Starting point changed, right? So we started, which was amazing. I'm biased party. I love my city, but we started at the Art Museum steps, quote unquote Rocky Steps, in Philadelphia. We all met there. We still did ruck down to the Liberty Bell and back. So we did that loop. It was just a shorter loop.
It's a slightly nicer area than Frankfurt.
Yeah, I mean,
So
that was the thing. Like we went through. I mean, basically went through Frankfurt. We walked down Allegheny Avenue for 001, 002. You know what I mean?
Right.
This was
a tour.
slightly
It's a tour of a different caliber.
different type of tour.
Yeah.
So shorter distance, a lot of sights and sounds. Arguably the most beautiful part of the city on the Parkway there.
Yeah.
Which I'm blessed to call my neighborhood, my home. The other amazing thing that you brought to the table was your friend Brian
Brian Singlin.
from Heavy Drop Training.
Yep.
I think it's heavy_drop_training on Instagram.
Yep.
And not only did he do the programming for the group workouts that we did along the ruck, he also engineered some team events for us as well.
Yep.
So that added that was a massive shift in camaraderie and connection and community.
Big time.
Literally, like after our first team game event that we did on the ruck,
The centipede.
that was the second one. Thankfully, that was the second one.
was
Yeah. After the first one, everybody opened up.
Yeah,
You know?
we did the human knot for the first
Yeah.
like group event. So like we had 2 teams and we did a human knot where we had to try to untangle, and we roll right. So like we know what it's like to have to go to like, you're a stranger. Let me put my head in your armpit.
Yes.
We know these things and we've experienced these things, but even though we know and experience these things, we're not so good at doing it with strangers, right? We still get that, at least for me, speaking for myself, I still get a little bit of anxiety if I'm like going to roll with somebody new or if I'm in close proximity with somebody new. So being able to do that it's almost an immediate, like we all have the same goal. We want to get the fuck away from each other. And we want to do it as, as non-invasively as possible.
Yep.
So, but it's like you start communicating and talking and thinking and figuring out how to do that. So that absolutely bumps the camaraderie like immediately.
Yeah.
And just in general, like, doing hard things together is literally what builds relationships. I'd say it's one thing that strengthened mine and Joey's relationship, my marriage, and even I feel like the relationships that are built inside of a jiu-jitsu gym are tighter than many relationships in the world.
Absolutely.
Because you go in there every day and you suffer for an hour to 2 a day with the same people over and over again. It brings you closer together.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that's really missed with that suffering is that I think a lot of people think that, oh, I'm in there suffering. I'm in there getting cranked on. I'm in there having my limbs manipulated. I'm in there having my airway closed. Like I'm in there doing that. But what you're not thinking of, what a lot of people miss, I think, is that who you're rolling with is suffering because of you. And what they are giving that to you so that way you can get better.
Yeah.
So it's not I'm suffering, I'm having a hard time, I'm the one that can't breathe. No, it's the other way. Yeah. It's like, like my training partner is under pressure. My training partner is getting cranked on. My training partner is having to figure out how to work. Like that's where it is. Like that's the suffering that matters. It's the suffering that your partner and your
being grateful for that.
It's what they're giving to you that builds it, and having that respect and that gratitude for it is immense.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. So we did. How many group workouts did we do? We did 3.
So we did the buy-in, which was so Brian he's a wizard.
Yeah.
Like he's a highly intelligent dude. He teaches anatomy, physiology, some things.
Neuro,
he's like a
it's
professor.
a whole thing.
He's wildly intelligent. So when he builds these workouts, they're smart. Yeah. And they're engineered to challenge us, but to do it in a way that's like gonna help prevent injuries and anything like that. So it's not like this
taking into consideration they're going to be done on a ruck and the ruck load and all that other stuff.
Correct.
Yep.
So we had the buy-in, which was like a really basic workout that got us warmed up to move. Right.
Yep.
And then we were gonna do a midway workout, but we ended up not doing that.
Yeah, we did team event, so we did buy-in workout, then we did some team stuff.
Yep.
Which yes, we did human not, but we also did buddy carries,
we did
wheelbarrows,
the relay.
bear crawls, the relay.
Yeah, we had a team relay when there were eight or nine of us on each team, so we had to go down. We had to sprint, grab a ruck, come back. We had to wheelbarrow, go down, come back with the rucks. So we did that. Yep.
Yeah.
And then we progressed further into the city. And then we had the other team event, which was blamed upon me. But everybody was.
When we got to the Liberty Bell, we did the other team event. Right?
So everyone was like saying, "Oh no,"
Yeah.
and like I hate this, but every single person there was laughing.
Yeah.
Every single person. So we did elephant walks.
Elephant walks.
Which
So Brian was like, "Oh, this is Tim. Like Tim
I
put
heard
this
about
in
it.
there."
I've heard
Everybody's
about
playing.
it.
And
I
I'm
did.
like, "What?"
I did.
I'm like, "What is this?" And then he's like, "Okay." I mean, you describe it because I don't even know if literally everybody's chained together, one hand through their legs.
Yep.
And then
the other hand forward.
Yeah, you put your one hand through your legs. The person behind you grabs
You're shaking legs, you're shaking hands between your legs.
There we go.
And you're walking. So just think of like when elephants, like the typical like elephant chain, like where they have like the trunk around the tail.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's what you're doing with your hands.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're making.
And when we
we're
say
making
walking, we're not really talking about walking. We're talking about like running.
It's a low shuffle. Like you're bent over and like shuffling.
We're making fun, but it's only weird if you make. It's like it's only weird if you make it weird.
And everybody's like complaining about it, like, oh, I don't like this, but everyone was laughing.
Yeah,
and everyone was.
And
having
it was
a good time.
memorable.
Yeah.
It was memorable.
But
you were talking.
we will call it human centipede for.
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
It's
For
fine.
the books. For the books.
You were talking to Molly that day, I think, right?
Yeah.
So we're doing
Molly,
this,
man.
and we're like literally we're at Independence Hall, and we're doing this human centipede thing, right? There's 100 people lined up to see the Liberty Bell.
Keep going. There
right?
was a line like around the building, like along the
whole
entire length of the building.
Still crazy that people
So
travel.
they're
for
watching,
that.
there's all this stuff. We're doing the elephant walk, and some dude comes up to Molly, and he's like, "Molly," and she's like, "Hey," and he starts filming it, and then he texted to her, so you had live video.
He's like,
of
"What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm here with my friends."
Yeah.
So we did that team event, and then we rucked back to the art museum, and
We got to
and
do
then did
Tunnel
our
of Love too, which was great.
Oh yeah, Tunnel of Love. Yeah, Tunnel of Love was cool.
It's super fun.
Yeah. We can't reveal all of the different team stuff.
Dude,
because we got to keep people on their toes.
No, we can, but it's not going to be
It's
the same
gonna
next
change.
time. It's going to change all the time.
Human centipede and tunnel of love, like, got to do, like if you're like looking
Listen,
for.
we
if
just
you're
wanted to
looking
have
for
some
a
fun.
ticket-
We just wanted to have some
And
fun.
we did.
Let's have some fun.
And we did.
This might be a good event to come to if you're single.
Hey, I mean, I had a good time. I had a good time.
So, yeah. One thing. So after that team event, like I said, we rucked back to the art museum steps and did a cash out.
Yep, cash out
workout.
Yep.
Which
Which was the more intense workout
It
from the
was
day.
especially brutal with the ruck on, with the lunges and the squats.
Yep.
After doing the mileage under load with the ruck.
How many pounds were in your guys' rocks?
I had 40, 45, about that.
Well,
40, 45.
okay, overall, like so.
Yeah,
not
overall.
dry,
Yeah, overall.
So I had a 20-pound plate in mine, but I think I left my water in there. I think.
Yeah.
So it's probably like 30, 35 because I had like I took the water bottles out because I had a couple extra water bottles in case we saw anybody that needed them. So yeah, it wasn't like.
Because I was telling
Same.
Tim on like when I got my go rock bag on my first rock, and I threw two 25-pound dumbbells in there.
It's
And I threw my back, and I was like first mile, or it's like whatever. But then I hit a hill, and I was
That's
like,
up.
oh my god,
That's
Like,
up.
I mean,
Plus
I'm
you-
just saying, I couldn't imagine after all those miles and then doing the lunges and shit. Like,
Bro, imagine doing fucking 17 miles. It was wild. And then coming back here and doing 500 reps, dude. We all got to dinner. We were like toast.
True.
You know? But yeah, you had dumbbells in there too, which are like shifting
You're saying a
around and
plate
stuff.
is easier. Like
Look,
the
man,
plate.
back in the day,
have-
it was the requirements were measured by bricks. Mm-hmm. So if you were below a certain weight, you had 4 bricks, and if you were above a certain weight, you had 6 bricks. And you would take those and you duct tape them together, and you'd put foam like not foam, but like the bubble wrap. Like you would put bubble wrap around it and tape it.
Yeah.
And then you had to have your name, address, and phone number on them. It was checked every time.
Yeah.
Because what would happen is people would just dump their bricks by dumpsters, and they would call the police because they think they were bombs.
Oh, that's wild.
So it's changed a little bit, but
So
like
now they have plates.
after the advent of like weight plates and stuff like that. Yeah. Somebody had a stack of bricks at the
Oh, did they
Food
really?
Fest. Yeah, I forgot who it was, but one of them had a stack
Oh,
of
that's
bricks.
amazing.
It was awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, one other thing that I was pumped to do. One other thing that went down for the Few Fest was a little history tour.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Of Philadelphia.
It was amazing.
Which is basically my retirement plan.
That's
Just so you know.
wild. You know so much about.
I love my city, man. What can I say? It's given me so much, and I
You got to know about the gallows, the hanging at the fountain.
Yeah.
Right where
Well, that's the thing.
Amanda was standing.
I told him, I was like, look, like, I'm not your guy if you want to talk about when construction started for this and when it was finished and all this. Like, I'm not that fat guy. Like, I'm like the weird fat guy.
Yeah.
So like Logan Square was basically the gallows. First of all, it was a mass grave, number one, up until like the 18th century. It was a mass grave and the gallows. So people were executed there. The last dude that was ever executed in Pennsylvania was executed there.
It's crazy.
And Swan Fountain is like where like every kids go to swim, like, dude, you know what I mean, over the summer. So that's the type of facts I'm bringing on the tour.
It's intriguing.
But it was amazing. So, it kind of had the history, hard work, and hangs type phrase.
Yeah.
That kind of sums up 003 pretty well. Everybody had a blast.
The hangs came after the fact, right?
Well, hangs,
It was during, man. Like we had
during and after.
we had I think that it was I'm gonna say that it was appropriately challenging. I think it was I haven't been training for rucking like at all. And but it was fine.
Yeah.
Like the PT was fine. It was fun. And like there were hangs. I mean, we're rucking through the city, and we have to communicate. So we didn't just have our rucks either. It's like Ernest.
Yep.
Ernest came with us, of course. But we had Ernest. We had sandbags. We had a jerry can. We had a 5-gallon jerry can with us. So we had to manage all these things as well. So with that includes like, hey man, can you take this? I need a break.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, is everybody good? Does anybody need to switch? Like,
Grab some from my pack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And there's that builds the camaraderie too. Is like, hey, you've had this for a while. Can I take this from you?
Yeah.
Is being mindful of your teammates and putting in and moving that weight with your team. It's not just every man for themselves or everyone, man or woman for themselves. But it's, hey, we have to move this weight together.
Yeah.
How can we do this effectively and efficiently?
Yep.
And
Everything's got to return to point A.
yeah, everything
So, like,
that goes out, everything has to come back.
Exactly. So everybody's got to work
And that
together to
means
get it
people
back.
And that means the people too, right?
People as well.
So
People
it's
as well.
being mindful of the team, mindful of the tasks the team has to execute.
Yep.
But it also wasn't like a, hey, here's a time hack and we have to make it by this.
Yeah.
But it was, like, hey, we need to keep moving for sure. But we had to also make sure that like everybody's good. We had time to hang. Like we went to the it was by Logan Square, right? Where we used the bathroom stop and like
Sister
hung out
Cities.
hung out on the grass for a little bit and
I grabbed the coffee.
had a coffee.
Yep. Yeah. Which I don't know if that's ruck approved, but I like my espresso.
It's yours.
I was plenty hydrated.
Dude, hey,
I know it's diuretic, but I was
man,
pretty hydrated.
Few Fest is yours. You can do with it what you want. One of my first event that I ever did back in 2014, there were no 7-Elevens in Detroit until soon after like the Super Bowl that came to town, because the 7-Elevens were so like overrun with crime and stuff that they stopped franchising in Detroit.
That's wild.
So they eventually started putting them back in. So we were doing this really gnarly movement from Hart Plaza downtown out to Belle Isle along Jefferson, which is like the main drag, one of the main drags into Detroit. And there was a new 7-Eleven there. And we had been carrying a parking block with us.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
the concrete.
Yeah.
John, there we go. We finally got a John out of you. First time.
I did just say John.
Yeah, you did. So we were carrying one of those with our other coupons and stuff.
Yeah.
And
That's wild.
so
2-person carry on shoulder.
keep going. They're 3 or 4. They're heavy.
Really?
They're heavy.
See,
Yeah,
here I
I
am.
mean, there's
Just the
There you go
one
again.
you pull into a spot, right? Not
Yeah.
like a big. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the big concrete block that you pull up to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that stops you,
Yeah.
yeah.
I initially thought it was like
Like on the highway.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
like,
No,
oh my god.
no, not
Could
a
you
barrier.
imagine that?
I can imagine that. It would be
But at
awesome.
least
Sounds-
the parking space one seems achievable.
You
like-
say that until it's digging into your shoulder
Oh, not saying it wasn't.
Where
So-
does one acquire a?
from a parking lot.
Where does one acquire one of those legally?
From a parking lot. So we stopped at 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And it's been a tradition of mine. Like every time I've gone, like I've shadowed a whole bunch of events because I used to make photos of events and stuff. And we stopped at 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Cadre says, "Do what you got to do. You have like 10 minutes." So we're like, "Okay." So what do? It's a 7-Eleven. We go in and we're coming out with Slurpees because we can.
Yeah.
Oh
The
my.
Cadre's like, "You rat bastards." We're like, "You said we could do whatever we needed to do."
Yeah.
I needed a Slurpee. So like ever since then, it's been like I always get a Slurpee when I
you get a
shadow those
Slurpee.
events or when I go to those events. I always like have to find.
You
a
didn't. We
Slurpee.
passed a 7 on our route. You didn't
Yeah,
get a
but
Slurpee.
but it wasn't a.
Yeah, I
It
understand.
was,
I get
I
it.
was also participating.
No,
so,
yes,
and
this
I've
is
been
true.
I've been used to like shadowing for so long that
Oh,
like
okay.
participating has been amazing.
Yeah.
So like, but back to your, I don't know if it's allowed. It's your event.
Yeah. There you go.
You can make it whatever you want.
Well, don't tell me that because the first one was 17 miles. Fuck that up. So.
Hey, well, yeah, but then you
Yeah.
can look at participation
no.
level
Uh-huh.
from that
Yeah, I
one
was
versus
like,
what we just
We'll
had.
say, yeah, I mean, 003 was
Highs.
4 times the size of our previous
Yeah.
2.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Good.
the proof's in the pudding.
Do what you want. Will you have one person there?
Yeah.
Maybe. But it's your event.
I told you.
Yeah.
I told him for 001, I was like, look, if nobody shows up, I'm doing this. Like, I'm doing my damn self. Like, it's happening.
Yeah, hey, that's
You
okay.
know what I mean?
And that's yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the history thing, I was really honored that everybody would listen to me rattle.
Yeah.
Off some facts about Philly, and I thought it added something a little unique to it. So moving forward for the next few fests, I do want to incorporate something like that into each one.
I think that, like from my experience, there's obviously going to be the group of people that are going just for specifically the teamwork, the hard work.
Yeah.
They want the grind.
Yeah,
And
sure.
that's a for sure thing. And there's nothing saying that there can't be another Few Fest that's more challenging for a longer duration, whatever. Then there's the people who want to go and who want something other than that, who want some sort of value out of what they're experiencing.
Sure.
So that's why they have a lot of the themed events. Will build in history. We'll build in these other these.
So I
other
didn't make this
elements.
idea up.
Well, I don't think that they've done just a solely Philly one.
Okay,
So,
all right,
there's
so I
been
made that up.
there's been ton tavern oriented events.
Okay.
But yeah, it's there has to be something more than just putting on a backpack and taking a walk. Like that's the thing is we're not looking when I say we, when I think of events, I'm not looking at an event to just go do XYZ. I'm not okay, cool. I can throw on my ruck whenever I want.
And
I
go.
can go walk wherever I want, and I
Yeah.
can go get PT whenever I want. That's not why
Yeah,
I like doing it.
it's
I like
true.
doing it because I can share that with somebody.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
there's something really special about, we did ours during the day, but there's something really amazing about being in the small hours with a group of people moving weight. There's something really special about it. So there has to be more of a draw than just the workout.
sure.
It's like jiu-jitsu, right? You don't go to jiu-jitsu just for a workout. You go for knowledge.
Yeah.
You go to
Community.
build a skill. You go for community.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
So it's
what
the same.
Amanda and I talk a lot about the Broad Street run, right? Literally, you're
Careful
paying.
now.
Yeah,
Careful.
you're paying a lot to go run down Broad Street and being it's a crazy town during the Broad Street run when you could go run 10 miles down Broad Street any other day of the week for free and have a nice easy run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same with 5Ks too. They're like, oh, we're gonna block off this area for you to pay to run.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of them are for good causes.
I mean, it's the same, and it's the same thing. A lot of time, you're doing it together with other people.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
You're
the
doing it
thing.
together with other
that's
people.
what I'm
Right,
saying.
that's the thing is, so, and I think that was one of the biggest, I don't want to say holes or gaps that I saw with double out 1 and 2, but when I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, I get that we're together, that you guys are together, but what are you doing together? What is everybody contributing to for the whole.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, you know, we're doing reps and miles. Like, yeah, we have like a
We
sandbag.
we had one sandbag that we were passing
earnest.
around and earnest.
So,
you know what I mean?
but then it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna amplify that. We're gonna make it so like 30, you know, a third of the people have a sandbag.
Yep.
That changes the dynamic big time.
Yeah,
because
yeah, of
then
course.
it's like, okay, well, this person can't carry this the entire time.
Yep.
So like we need to change. We have to change that.
Sure.
So it adds a different dynamic to it, and it adds a different mechanism for that growth and that team building.
Yeah, that's one of the special things about FewFest is that it's evolving based on the community.
Yeah.
You know, like FewFest 001 was just a crazy idea I had, right? Now, we had a goal to get the few together in person and all that, but at the end of the day, it's just a crazy idea I had. Let's ruck from here, from the home of hard work, to the Liberty Bell, the birthplace of the nation. Let's walk back. Let's bookend it with some reps and let's get wild. Let's suffer together. That was supposed to be it. The attendees, the community members that came out for 001, it was their idea to do it quarterly. So right then and there, the community started to evolve the event. And they're like, look, we're not going to wait another year to do this. Like, let's do this quarterly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you came to the table and said, hey, look, again, from the community, this is what the community needs. And then it started to evolve again. So like, I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Very,
Same. Me too.
very excited to see where it goes.
So Brian Singleton from Heavy Drop Training that came in and did the programming for us, for the workouts for us. He's been a longtime friend. His first ever ruck event, I was there when he did it.
Yeah.
That was it was 10 years ago. It was 2014. He's been building heavy drop training for 7 years, and he's, like I said, he's an absolute wizard. But he also offers sandbag and ruck training, like programming.
Oh, okay.
And he also does, like, they have like nutrition, they have mobility stuff. Like, he has like a whole suite of like training and performance stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, the majority of it is based around specifically ruck and sandbag training.
Okay.
So he also has a series of events, and he has different events. And one of them is called a Throwdown, which is a 12 to 15 hour event. And then there's a collective, which is also a 12 to 15 hour event. But the collective is his team event. Okay. So in the last year, I've done one of each, and then in his Throwdown, it's competitive. It can be competitive.
I remember him telling me that.
Yeah. So you can go and like you get points for performance and stuff like that. And then the collective is like the team event, and it's very different from from any of the other events that are out there. It's definitely worth doing. I really want to get one out here so that we can do it.
Yep.
But that being said, like, there's something that, like, there's going to be a way that we can navigate and create something for the next few fests that's going to appeal to more. Like, we can get more people in the community involved, and it's not just then either. It's not just the event specifically, but it's after the work too. We have the camaraderie. And the community and the connection afterward too.
Yep. Yeah, we were all pretty alive after 003.
Yeah.
You know, dinner at 001 and 002 was a little rough.
Yeah.
Smaller group, you know what I mean? We weren't at HQ. But like I said, we were all exhausted. Yeah. You know, so after 003, we had an open house essentially. Yep. So giving everybody the opportunity to come visit HQ, see your new workshop. Well, not new to HQ
new
workshop.
New location,
yeah, new location. You know, here, and then Danny came through with his gang for Movement Art. You know, we did some rolling.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Car and Grazing Gals.
Look, when I came upstairs and I saw this like charcuterie, like, magic,
it was a work of art.
Yeah, it was. I felt so bad for about half a second eating it, and then I was just like, it was absolutely wild. Like, that was just absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah,
like, that was so yeah. Grazing Gals Philly.
Grazing Gals Philly on Instagram. If you're in the Philadelphia area, they will put together a spread: charcuterie, meats, cheeses, jams, fruit, candied stuff
Edible
that
art,
you've never seen before.
You will feel,
as Tim said, you will feel bad, like being the first person to put your hand to the table.
But then you'll be happy you did.
But then you'll be happy.
You'll
be happy. So yeah, I mean, it was amazing that the hangs.
And it was, it was nice too, because it gave opportunity for other people that weren't available to go to do the event to show up.
Yeah.
And it was really great having, members of the community, like of the members of the few Eagles
Yep.
come in and like just spend time.
Yeah.
Like and
Just kick it.
and it's not like it's not about like I'm here to work, and it's not about it's just like spending time.
Yeah.
And like making that investment, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
It was great.
investing in each other. Yeah, I mean, pretty much everybody from 003 that participated came to the open house. Then we had a bunch of other Eagles come through too, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Bree even made it. She was on her way to the Few Fest to participate with us all day. She had an alternator or a battery issue. She got pinned on 495 or whatever by Baltimore. She literally had her car repaired. She had it towed, repaired, and she finished the drive so she could make it here for the open house.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
she brought donations for Philly Unknown.
And
very thoughtful.
Before we
ones.
close out, though, I feel like you should give a shout out to Kev.
Oh, I am. I'm getting
Okay,
there.
okay.
Yeah, I'm getting there. And she brought me a birthday gift.
Oh well, that's all that
Some
matters.
amazing green
Hey,
tea.
look, that's
And a
that's all
book
that
and a
matters.
mug.
All that matters is Joey's birthday.
Yeah, you know.
That's that was the important part of.
I mean,
that's
it's-
really the motive behind the.
It's
behind the open house was just to celebrate
you
Joey's
know,
birthday.
Basically.
We're only having one on that quarter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing. As you alluded to, I could never end the show without mentioning it. Kev came through, Set Your Wheels in Motion on Instagram, longtime community member, absolute badass, human. He came through. He was going to participate.
Yeah.
But then said, "Hey, look, I'm just going to make it for the open house." My spidey senses were like tingling a little bit. I was
they
like, something
weren't.
just doesn't feel
why,
right.
why did you drive in 3-4 hours just for?
It's a long haul, He's coming. Yeah, he's coming from 3 hours away, 4 hours away, whatever. I'm like, my spidey senses kind of tingling, whatever. So I talked to him a couple times on the ruck. And he's like, "Hey, I'm by HQ. When do you think you're going to be back?" We hadn't even finished the event yet, So I said, "Look, man, I'm going to try my damnedest. We're going to finish the ruck. I'm going to pack up. I'm going to shower real quick. I'll get to HQ like 2 hours before the open house starts. I'll try to meet you there." Of course, well-laid plans. You know what I mean? Everything.
It's just the way it goes.
Traffic, cleaning up, all this other stuff. I didn't get here till like 4:45. Fortunately, you were here. Danny was here. So you brought Kev up. We're riding in the elevator up, and you're holding. Was it you or was it Danny?
No, I think I was.
Yeah, you're holding a rifle case.
Yeah.
And I know it's a rifle case because
Yeah, it's pretty obvious
know
what it
things,
is.
right?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
So I'm like, and Kev works at shout out Antietam Firearms. So he works at a shop, and he has for a long time. People there are great. So I'm like, "Hey, Tim, like, what's that?" And he's like, "Oh, I bought something from Antietam, and Kev's dropping it off." I'm like, "That's awesome. I can't wait to see it
like,
when
"Yeah,
we get
man,
upstairs."
What a bro move.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, man, I've been working really hard, and I just like felt good. Like I just wanted to give myself a little something.
a little
I
something.
A new rifle.
A little something. Yeah.
was like, got myself a bonus.
So, yeah, right. You deserve it.
Yeah,
man. Just
yeah,
give it.
yeah.
You deserve it. So we get upstairs, and we're putting ice in a tub, and we're getting the NAs ready, and the charcuterie's looking good. It's coming together, and I'm probably stuffing my face, And
Not
then-
yet. No,
No?
we let him like get the whole thing.
Okay,
down
yeah, we
first.
let him.
Yeah, we
okay.
let him.
So Kev calls me over to the table, and he's like, "Hey, I want to give you something." And I'm like, he's got the rifle case sitting in front of him. So I'm a pretty smart guy. I put two and two together at that point.
Says the dude who started opening the box for the optic first.
Listen, he had a box for the optic for the scope in front of it. And he was like, "Here, I want to give this to you." And I'm just like, I put two and two together, and I was just so overrun with emotion and gratitude and disbelief, honestly, that I grabbed the empty box for the optic, and I pick it up and I start opening the box.
Kev's sitting there, he's like, "Bro, that's empty."
Yeah. He kind of just let me go. I'm like there, and I'm having an out of body experience at the moment. You know what I mean? So I finally make my way around the table to the rifle case. I pop it open, and it's a completely custom built fuel hunt rifle from Antietam.
Yeah, beautiful.
And just like an absolute work of art. And you can check out. I don't think they're on the feed, but you can check out my feed. Joey Digital on Instagram, and you can see pictures of the rifle. Amazing. I mean, like I still don't have the words. Like I can't even believe that he gifted that to me.
That was a gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it. It's one of the most remarkable things that anybody has ever given to me, and not just a physical thing.
Yeah.
But a gesture, you know, a non-physical gesture.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Thought and the intent behind it was huge.
Yeah. And I still, honestly, I still don't feel deserving of it. You know what I mean? I really don't. Like, I said to him that, like, the greatest gift that he's given me is his friendship over the years. You know, and he's been to HQ a bunch. He makes the drive up. We spend time together. We'll hit the diner, whatever. Like, that's gift enough, man. Yeah. Like, this is something that I had a hard time even accepting. But I'm gonna put it to damn good use.
Yeah, but that's the point, though, right? Like, people who would have an easy time accepting that don't get things like that.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the paradox.
I guess that's a good point.
Right. Like the people who think they're undeserving are generally the most.
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of like the paradox of stuff like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The rifle itself, I mean, just badass. Red, white, and blue.
It's not very camo. Not very camouflage.
No, it's not. It's red. It is red, white, and blue. It is loud. I love it. It has, the Fuel Hunt Eagle engraved on it. It bears the name of the few.
Yep.
It bears our full mantra. Completely custom machined. It's just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So, that was definitely a highlight of the open house for me.
And for those of us that got to see it happen too, like it was.
There were a lot of people in on it too.
Yeah.
Like that new and everything. So we have a call, a Fuel Hunt Rise call every Wednesday evening. Started out as an accountability call, and it still is. Like, we still have an accountability framework that we go through, but really it's just like the few getting together on Wednesday night on the phone. And like for a few weeks, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm working on this special project, and like can't say anything about it." And I'm like, "Kev, keep me in suspense," like the whole time, like completely like oblivious to the fact. I'm like asking him about it. I'm like, "Oh, come on, give us a little detail." Oblivious to the fact that it has anything to do with me.
He and I were actually trying to figure out a way to present it to you at the end of Few Fest, at the end of the workout with everybody there.
Yeah.
But it just wouldn't. We couldn't make it work out that way. So, but we were abreast of that.
I'm happy it happened here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like we've spent a lot of time here together.
Yeah.
At HQ. And then the other thing too is, opening a rifle case at the Philadelphia Museum of Art might be a problem.
Don't worry about it. No big deal.
I'll definitely get called on, man.
No big deal.
I'll definitely get called on.
No big deal.
All right, so I hijacked to tell the story of the rifle, but I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hijacked. It's what happened.
Yeah.
That's the truth of what happened, and that further reinforces like the importance of it, because that's the community.
Yeah.
Like those are the people in the community that you like, that you really want to connect with, that make that community strong and have like, it gives that foundation. Like, so it's not hijack. It's just tangential.
It's what it is.
It's part of it.
Yeah, it's what it is.
With that, like as you were saying that, like I would be like really remiss if I didn't mention like my people that came through. Like I was really stoked to have some of like my people here. You know, and then like it's been a big thing for me, because like no one has ever been able to see my shop.
Yeah.
Like I've had like one or two people see where I was building stuff before, but then to have a half dozen of my people that come through was like really amazing. And like, and I really like the fact that a lot of them, like all of them, are like experienced ruckers.
Yep.
And we're mixing that with the few who were not as experienced or completely like who it's completely brand new to.
Yep.
So like having that was I think a really good mix.
Yep.
And I think it was good that athletes are seeing different athletes.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I think that was a good, a really good mixture and really good blend.
Yeah, I would agree.
So you could definitely tell who was experienced by how they rolled up.
Yeah, it's a different whole different
it's a different
culture. Whole different. It's completely different. But bringing, we've done that since the very beginning. Like bringing people together from very diverse backgrounds, right? Not just like ethnicity, but also beliefs to some degree. You know what I mean? Not only religion, but political, things like that. Like we're building bridges, and that bridge is hard work. You know, so if you believe in freedom, you believe in hard work, you believe in service to others, you have a place here. And not everybody that walks through the door, the metaphorical door of the fuel hung community, believes all the same things, but they have that commonality.
No, I mean, and we don't need to, because as soon as you get into communities that believe strictly and only the same things, you're just entering an echo chamber.
Yeah, exactly.
And that provides zero room for challenge and growth.
Yep.
That provides like zero latitude.
Yeah.
So it's like if all you're doing is communicating and speaking with people that only align with you on every single thing, then there's no way to challenge what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
So like that's vastly important. People have forgotten and lost that.
Yeah. Oh, 1,000%. That's why I have many of the problems that we have today. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, bringing everybody together from different backgrounds and then to do like a bunch of different stuff, dude. Like, you know what I mean? We're doing team stuff. We're doing conditioning workouts. We're rolling. We're rucking. We're coming here, you know, in your shop, seeing things being made, you know, in the USA. You know what I mean? Like, it's just amazing. It was a good time. And I'm excited for 004.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for 004.
Anything else we want to call out about 003? I mean, shout out Levy. Evelyn,
Levy made some great
Sean
stuff.
from People Doing Martial Arts. They all came through, shot
Some
the
nice
event.
content,
Shot the event, captured some really beautiful moments.
absolutely.
So definitely check them out on social. You'll see that we're tagging them in the photos that we're posting. So definitely check them out.
I think, you know, obviously we've spoken about how this is like changing and evolving as we go, right? As members of the community are like coming forward and saying, well, you know, obviously that's how it started or how it continued. So like members of the community are coming up and the fact that you're open to listening and changing is huge, like and adapting. So I think that's a really important aspect of it. And so I think there's like a couple of things that could be improved on for sure. And I think, like, don't get me wrong, I think it was great. It was a great time. But I think like as people get more accustomed to it, like, you know, we kind of discussed like it is a rucking event.
Yeah.
It is a rucking event.
Got to be prepared for the ruck.
Yeah, and that doesn't just mean being able to put a backpack on and walk.
Yeah.
You know, and you know we provided a gear list.
Yeah.
An intentional, thought out gear list, though it was small. It's important that those boxes are getting checked,
especially for you know, we won't let the cat out of the bag, but for what we have planned for 004, it's going to be critical because there's going to be some elements involved.
Regardless,
winter, all that
regardless, it's wintertime.
Yeah.
You know, at bare minimum, people are going to have a backpack with backup stuff in the event that it's going to be in the winter. So if it gets wet, if it gets cold, they have to have something to switch out to, or like another layer to put on. They have to have hydration.
Yep.
So these are all things that we're not putting this list together just to give like people like a point of friction if they don't have it. The list is so that way they're equipped to go out and take advantage of this as best they can.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because, you know, we were out for what, 7 hours?
Yeah.
6 hours, something like that. And it's like, like we're in the city, like we can stop and get drinks and stuff if we need to. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like we also need to be self-reliant, and we need to have the things that we need to have as individuals, so that way the team is good. Yeah. So, but with the upcoming one, like it's going to be, I think it'll be like a critical thing to make sure that all these points are hit on that, simply because of like elements. Yeah. And with where it may or may not be. Yep. We won't have the access or availability to. Yeah.
There's not going to be a convenience store.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're not going to be passing 10 convenience stores on Market Street in Philadelphia.
Right.
So FewFest 004, right now tentatively going down on December 7th. So we're speaking about winter and the elements. It's going to be in December. Yep. As of right now, it is going to be more suburban than urban.
Suburban, yeah.
Yeah, suburban than urban. So yes, like, you know, coming prepared is going to be critical. Yes. And, you know, part of that too is like, for me as a leader, you know, I need to set a bit of a better example, because I'll just throw my backpack on and do it. And that's not going to cut it. You know what I mean? That's not going to cut it. So more details for 004 in the coming weeks, but we're cooking over here. We're cooking. We're cooking.
Yeah. I'm excited for this one. It's gonna be good.
And we won't be an open house afterwards. The house will be open. The
It
house
will
of
be.
hard
It
work
will-
will be
it
open,
will
but
be.
hopefully we can do like a little holiday,
Little Christmas party.
Christmas party.
Little
you know what I
pineapple,
mean?
white elephant.
Little white elephant. Not elephant walks. White elephant. What do we do elephant walks too while we're doing the white elephant?
Or they could be white
I call it
elephant walks.
Pollyanna. I don't know what. Is that the
Well,
same
white
thing?
elephant and Pollyanna are different things.
Oh, are they?
They aren't.
I have no
A
idea
white
what-
elephant is
I
a
don't-
form of Pollyanna.
All right, well,
Yeah,
you're gonna
I
have
have
to.
no idea what Pollyanna
So
is.
now I'm versed. Tim has versed me in the elephant walk. So now you can verse me in the
Well, we're
not
gonna-
now,
we're
but
gonna
another time white elephant.
If everything goes well, it will be a white elephant walk.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes, this is true. Yes, this is true.
It clicked finally.
This is true. This is true. Santa may make an appearance, may or may not make an appearance. We'll see.
Photo booth for sure.
Photo booth.
Get pictures. Get
And I would
pictures
love
of
to, if he's in town, I'd like to get that JC here
Oh yeah.
to maybe
DJ.
DJ,
Yeah.
spin some tunes, man.
Get some Christmas music going.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
Christmas DJ. That'd
Yep.
be sweet.
Yeah. So it's going to be epic, and I have a feeling that it's going to be a multiple of the size that 003 was. I think that trend's going to continue. Not too big.
Yeah.
The Christmas party will definitely be bigger.
Yeah, we hope so.
But the event itself will. I have a feeling that it'll be bigger than 003. All right, guys. What else?
Should we open up comments? Did you guys open up
Yes.
comments for like what would be a draw and an appeal for them?
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, thank you. When you were talking about listening and adapting,
Yes.
that hit me. And then as soon as it hit me, it escaped me. So in the YouTube comments, if you're watching on YouTube, in the YouTube comments, drop what you would like to see the Few Fest 004B or even the Christmas party afterwards. Are there things that you want to do, you want to see, people you want to meet? Drop it all in the comments. If you aren't a YouTube person and you're listening, you can always send me an email, joey@fuelhunt.com. And yeah, I mean, like I said, this has been an event that has evolved based on community feedback, and we want to keep that going.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to keep that going.
And I mean, if it trends like the way it did between 2 and 3 to 3 and 4,
Yeah, yeah,
it's gonna be it'll be an all timer for sure.
for sure. Is this the first time that we've had a repeat guest on the show? Is Tim our first repeat guest?
Sweet.
Well, look at that.
It's just because of my commute.
I was gonna say it's like
It's just because of the
the
commute.
commute's really short. So yeah. What's that? Yeah.
Oh, Ernest is on every
Man,
episode.
dude,
He don't talk much,
Dane's- Yeah, he's more stoic.
Yeah.
You know. But Dane,
stoic doesn't mean
Dane,
silent,
thank you,
though.
man, because otherwise he's gonna have a bone to pick with me.
He would too.
Yeah.
He talks to me at night, man.
Yeah, we got some
When
good
you're not around.
I get your photos from like late night photos, you and Ernest
Yeah, well,
at
that's
HQ.
That's Tim's main coworker. He's like,
It is.
I know,
It is.
basically.
It is.
I'm surprised that Ernest hasn't left his spot here and migrated back to,
Maybe
to
he
the
will.
shop.
Maybe he will.
Yeah.
Like Sam. That's Sam's territory back
Sam.
there.
Have you heard about Sam?
nah,
Sam the
Sam
squirrel.
Squirrel.
nah, I gotta
So
scroll back
Tim
there.
has back in the rafters. He has a Sam
my God.
squirrel, his pet, that comes down and he just kind of like chills on the rafter and then
really?
Yeah,
disappears
so
again.
like, see, like where there's like a sandwich I-beam, like it's right behind the light.
Yeah.
Like right behind above the light. He'll perch on the edge of the I-beam and he'll just sit and watch me. The other night I was working on
He
my.
wants to help, bro.
I was working on my computer the other night and I look up, and like he climbed along like one of the joists and just like flattened himself out and took a nap.
That's
Whoa.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's
That's
amazing.
wild.
Yeah. Sam hangs out.
That's
with me all the
amazing.
time.
I mean, you could easily turn him to a pet.
I could, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna leave him.
You're gonna leave
I'm
him
gonna
wild. He
be-
deserves to
Look,
be wild, man.
He doesn't get feces on my gear.
Look, he's
so
dude, he's
like,
a respectable squirrel,
Hey,
man.
look,
What do you look?
as
I
long
mean,
as
come on.
he's not getting like his bio waste on my gear.
Yeah, Philly
I'm good.
squirrels are good, dude.
Yeah, Philly squirrels are good.
good.
Plus, he's living on the streets of Frankfurt, man.
Yeah.
He's
You
not
know what
living
I
on
mean?
the streets
Like
anymore.
this is a peaceful.
He's not on the streets anymore.
Peaceful
He's living
response
up
for
there.
Yeah,
He's not on the
Yeah,
streets.
the rafters. Yeah.
He's living in the rafters. He's living
He's in
good,
the penthouse now, dude.
He's
in the penthouse.
getting the scraps from the ice cream sandwiches, and he's
Yeah.
Yep.
he's good, man.
Yeah.
He's good.
All right. So yeah, first repeat guest. I mean, if I had some type of award, I mean, you have a beer, so
I have an
non-alcoholic.
NA beer. Yeah.
Yeah, we had we went a little hog wild for the open house and got a
And
couple
we're gonna do it
cases
again.
of non-alcoholic beer, and not everybody drank them. So now like the
Not only
fridge
did
is filled with it.
not only did not everybody drink them. Gunner, though, by the way, walked out with
He did, right?
with
He did.
his
He walked out
satchel
with a sack.
of them. He
Gunner's a
had
good
at
guy.
least
He is a
8
good
or
guy.
12.
Yeah.
So my buddy Alex brought he brought a cooler full of athletic.
Yep.
So like not only did we have what we brought in, but then Alex was like, "Here, take all of this." So
Yeah.
we have our shop fridge.
So
full
we're
of it.
yeah,
Tim
we're,
and Dane
we're
was
stocked.
so, you want a beer? And Dane's like, no, dude, it's fucking Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Like,
It's not alcoholic.
Yeah. Let me see that business ingredients over there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want to roast the ingredients. I mean,
I'm just
it is
curious what it
fermented.
is.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good, man.
Yeah, they're really good.
They're good. You don't
Yeah,
have to.
they're really good.
There's no downfall to them.
Yeah. Yep.
They don't have ingredients
For sure.
on them.
Well, must be good for you then.
Yeah, it must be good.
It must be good for you then.
Just one single ingredient.
Yep, perfect.
That's funny.
Healthy.
Yep. All right, let me bring this in for a landing here. Sign off. Leave the few with a reminder. Always choose hard work over handouts. Always choose effort over entitlement. Remember, no one owns you. No one owes you. You're one of the few. Now let's hunt.